Hello, everybody, and welcome to All Things Football. Pep Guardiola schooled by social once again. 21-game win streak comes to an end, and our unbeaten away record is extended. We're going to be talking about Manchester United's victory over Manchester City in the derby today, Liverpool's sixth consecutive loss at home this season, and we're going to round it off by talking about Tottenham's 4-1 win against Crystal Palace. Now, we have to start with the big game of today. Ibs.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts.
So, well, I had to bring in my friend, my boy, Vim, Man City fan, the only Man City fan I know. But yeah, he's going to give his thoughts today as well.
I'm glad to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, yeah, we always start with the lineup. So obviously we're going to start. We'll hand it over to you, Vim, firstly, when you firstly saw the City lineups. As was it expected?
You know what? I saw the lineup and I thought that was probably the best team that Pep could have fielded for this game. And honestly, from the start of that, I just thought that it was going to be a rollover. Like, I thought you guys are going to just, we're just going to control the game from start to finish, take the dub. That's what I was thinking. But obviously, it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, Anton?
I mean, I'm going to speak about the City lineup as well. I thought the only alteration that could have been made was Cancelo at left back and Kyle Walker starting the match because, I mean, Zinchenko's a good player, but I just don't think he's Manchester City standard. I saw Sterling on the left. No worries there because we have Wan-Bissaka. He still hasn't found a way out of his pocket. Jesus, he's your starting striker, I think, in general, but I'm not a big fan of him. I'll be totally honest. I don't think, again, he's up to Manchester City's elite standards. And of course, Riyad Mahrez on the right, he's an elite level player. He's what he did to Luke Shaw. It made me laugh. Luke Shaw was on his knees.
He was on his knees. He was praying.
Yeah. When I saw that, I had to laugh because if I don't laugh, I'll cry. But you had a very, very strong lineup. And as you said, I think it was the strongest possible lineup you could have gone with. And
I think the only shock that was there was Aguero not playing at all. Honestly, I thought that, especially after the first half, I would think that Pep would bring on Aguero, maybe just change things up, have something different, but that didn't happen.
As everyone knows in football, it's like a bit of a cliche now, but when there's a derby or a grudge match, all form goes out the window. I know Aguero hasn't been playing too much because I think he was coming back from an injury, but I do believe if he played, I mean, he probably would have scored because you did obviously create a lot of chances. Put Aguero instead of Sterling on that Kyle Walker cross. That was one of the best crosses I've seen in a very long time. And he puts that in the back of the net. And I think those are just the fine margins which decide the result of the game. Our lineup, Manchester United's lineup, I don't know how long I can talk about this, but I'm starting to enjoy it all now. I don't know if Bailly is the answer. It's just the high line. When we spoke about it when we played against Chelsea, you were confused, as so was I. Lindelof and Maguire playing a high line. It didn't make sense because they're not the fastest of players. But when we apply the pressure and suffocate teams, it doesn't matter who you have at the back. Because
I think even if it's Lindelof and Maguire, still City, they clocked it like a bit early into the first half that we're playing a high line. They played 1 free ball to Sterling. He made the run inside Maguire and Lindelof. And if it was a better ball, he would have been on to score.
Yeah.
If that's Bailly can at least get back and track back with Sterling because he's fast enough. But Lindelof and Maguire, they're not fast enough if teams realise they're playing high and decide to play it
I think
behind.
Because they had so much of the ball in the first half, I feel like United's line just gradually sat off. Towards the end of the first half, you guys were basically sitting at the edge of the box and just like letting us play in front of you. So I was seeing that United that usually gets the no-nils against the big six, like come towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, Ains is right. It does matter who you have a centre half, but obviously in Lindelof and Maguire, we do have 2 competent centre backs. I'm not saying look, you're going to put Tyrone Mings at centre back next to I don't know, Jamie Carragher when he's 45. Obviously, centre halves do matter, but when Lindelof and Maguire are very clearly the first choice centre backs and will be played together the most. They will have a sort of chemistry that other defensive partnerships won't have, and you can tell, and we can see even just by watching previous matches against the bigger sides, Solskjaer's ever so slightly changing our depth in every match. And we really noticed it against Chelsea. And today we started high and tried to maintain it as long as possible. Obviously, Manchester City are one of the best footballing sides in terms of passing around, draining energy from the opponents in the world. So we have to drop off.
Yeah. What I ask of him is, obviously Sterling against Wan-Bissaka on the left wing, and certain, like, obviously in many derbies, Wan-Bissaka's had the better of him. But why does Pep always want to play him on the left wing? Why not play him in the central role where he's going to be up against Maguire and Lindelof, who are slower and not as good as Wan-Bissaka 1v1? Why doesn't Pep just change him to the other wing as well against Shaw?
I think it's the whole idea of having like your wide players play inward and then allowing your fullbacks to really stretch the pitch. I think that's something that we've seen from Pep pretty much from the whole season. Usually, like, the forward players would like squeeze inside and then allow the fullbacks to use the width on the pitch. So I think it has to do with that, and also just the fact that Sterling can't do what Jesus does in the middle. You know, like, Pep likes a false nine. He likes a player, or a striker rather, that can come inside the midfield, you know, play 1-2s, keep the ball. That's what I don't think Sterling can do. That, you know, he can't hold up play. He can't, you know, connect the same way as Jesus does. And I think that's the reason why Aguero doesn't get as much playing time anymore.
Yes, it's fair. That's fair enough, because Sterling, I didn't see him again this game, but Cancelo, your best fullback in the league. Where was he today? He was getting exploited by Shaw and Rashford on the left wing, and he had to get subbed off. It was a bit too much defense. It was too much defensively for him today. Obviously, attacking wise, he's the best fullback. He can play. He basically plays centre mid when in the system that you guys play. But obviously on the counter attack today, you just got exploited on that wing, and obviously Kyle Walker had to come on.
Yeah, because I feel like we're chasing the game immediately from the start because he gave away a penalty in the first minute. So I feel like that forced us to press so high. So because of that, we ended up being exposed. And obviously, Kyle Walker is more defensively sound, so it made sense for him to come on eventually. Yeah.
But yeah, talking about the pen, first minute, I hadn't even turned on the game. When I turned on the game, I saw Bruno stepping up for a pen. I was like, what? Bruno about to score against a top 6 team? What? I thought Bruno's hiding. But then he just comes on.
I honestly knew something like this was going to happen. So I wasn't even surprised. It was just the timing that mattered.
Yeah.
I just want to say, sorry, about Bruno Fernandes. Just in general about him as a person. Every few years, every team has a player that you can just rely on, that whether they play good or bad, they're going to chip in with an assist or goal. And Bruno Fernandes, he's just inevitable. Like, you knew it was going to happen. Although it was 35 seconds in, because we, for some reason, were just so fast out of the blocks, like, it would have happened at some point in the game. And I'm just so happy that we have him. To be fair to Edison, he did get a hand on it. It just wasn't a strong enough wrist. But
the way the penalty was given away in the first place, like, Martial had like 3-4 players on him, and then Jesus decided to just put a hand on him and then bring him down. He really did need to do that. Those
are the positions that our strikers get in a lot, and that's the reason we win so many penalties, because especially Rashford and Martial, their link-up play when they're in and around the area on the left-hand side almost is crazy. Like, they could, you know, do a 1-2 in a telephone box. They're really slick with it. Their connection is very, very clear to see. When Martial's running at speed with 3 to 5 players around him, he's going to draw a foul. It reminds me of when Bernardo Silva fouled Rashford. I think it was last season. It's the same thing over and over again. And that's why we win so many. It's not just City. It's It's every team we come.
But you can't just put it down to just you guys having good players in the box, because you can't lie. You guys get favored when it comes to decisions like this.
Do we have time?
We have to have this discussion. We have to have this discussion.
I mean, I could go back to the match against Chelsea. Callum Hudson-Odoi basically, carried the ball out of the play. I mean,
yeah, I know, but
even on VAR, it hits his hand and his hand only.
9 out of 10 times, these things will tend to go to Man United's way. I don't want to say, I don't make it sound like the whole game was because of that, but
no. We would have won anyway. But it's in terms of recently. I said this in the last episode. I think I don't agree with what Maguire says a lot, but what he said about ever since someone complained about the decisions that we get via VAR, they have been going against us. Sheffield United, perfect example. Solskjaer revealed or told the reporters in a press conference that I can't remember what the committee is called, but it's the official referees committee. They told him or informed the club that Sheffield United shouldn't have been awarded a goal and we should have been awarded a goal, changing a 2-1 loss into a 2-1 win. The handball against Chelsea, two of the biggest examples I can think of. Decisions have been going against us. It's just that previously we've won so many, not through VAR, but through the fault of the referees on the pitch, not seeing things. And that's
what I'm talking about, that element of luck, though.
I feel like today, the referee today was actually quite lenient in the tackles.
Definitely.
There's so many tackles flying in today. The referee just played advantage, just let it go. And I think
the fact that it was a derby, obviously, he had to let the game flow,
Yeah, today's ref was very good. He's a derby ref, I guess. In a derby, fans or no fans, it's going to be more feisty. There's going to be more challenges flying in. And I'm glad that he played the advantage as much as possible, especially when Martial was clean through, kind of. I don't know how he didn't score. When he had the whole far corner free.
Yeah. But, you guys weren't the only one with chances, though. I feel like City could have had 2 or 3.
City, obviously, you guys obviously dominated the ball.
Yeah, and especially first half. Second half, I would say I'll give it to United. You guys played well in the second half. But
you guys dominated the ball and you did what Pep always does. Passing, tired the opposition out. Yeah. And then cut it back. Work out. But yeah, it didn't work.
We had that one where Mahrez cut in, he hit it across the goal where Jesus slid. We had the one where Walker crossed and Sterling just narrowly missed. So, I feel like we had a lot of clear-cut chances. We just didn't take them.
Yeah, we defended, I think, brilliantly today. And we kept out as much as we kept out everything, actually. But I don't think at any point I was scared that we were going to concede. Apart from that Sterling chance that went through his legs. I guess that's just the confidence of us being 2-0 up or 1-0 up at the time. But in previous weeks, if we were getting attacked like that, we're conceding 2 or 3 goals. But maybe it's just derby. I was going to read one of the comments here. I don't know how to say the name, so I'm going to say CX start. It said Donny has to start playing. I think he was out today. But yeah, our passing isn't good. I know we won 2-0 and I'm happy, but on the transition, we're so slow.
McTominay's passing is awful.
We are terrible. We do.
There's a point where you guys couldn't even put in like 10 passes together.
Yeah, we're professional.
I
say we. I'm speaking about Manchester United. We're professional footballers. They're getting paid millions per year, and you can't put together 10 passes. I don't care who you're playing against. Passing the ball and moving to make space to receive the ball is something you learn when you're 9 years old. It's something that confuses me as to why we can't do it. I know we're under pressure, but I say you're professional footballers. You should be able to string passes together. Fred and McTominay both had good games in breaking up the play, putting Rodri and Gundogan and De Bruyne under pressure in the midfield, intercepting. But when we have the ball, we can't do anything with it. And it's just lumping it forward.
Yes, as soon as we got the ball, we played it back to City and City just passed it around. The way City passed the ball is it's amazing. The way the passing movement of the ball. And
when you really think about it, every team has moments like Manchester City, but they're the only team that can keep it up for 90 minutes. And we can keep it up for about 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously down to the coaching, but it's also down to their squad depth. They don't get tired because Morris gets tired or bring on Torres or Sterling.
I do feel like though that was part of United's game plan though. Like they allowed City to play because I think the possession ended up with like 65 or something like that, which for a top team like United, obviously it was probably part of the plan if they wanted City to have that much of the ball. And it did make sense and it did end up paying off because the chances you did have, you ended up taking.
But Manchester United, I'm not going to say
it's just the fact that it's not very very nice to watch. I feel like the fans cannot, they won't enjoy the game as much if you guys have 30% of the ball. Yeah,
I feel like obviously when you come up against a Pep team, not just City but a Pep Guardiola team, any opponent is going to have less possession. But Manchester United has never been a team that's rocked up to games and finished with 60% possession. We've been a counter-attacking side. We just kill teams on the counter-attack. When we had Sir Alex Ferguson, I'm not going to pretend like I watched a match in 2009 against Bolton, but we don't play games to have the majority of possession. We play games to just soak it up and attack and just kill teams. That's what Manchester United is. Only recently, under Mourinho and Van Gaal, and even on the social, we've been dominating the possession. And I think that's what a lot of fans mistake Manchester United to be. And I'm not complaining. We won the game, but it's just I'm just happy in that.
Well, I would say Kevin De Bruyne. He was I wouldn't say he was out of the game, but he was very quiet in the game.
Yeah,
you expect him to like play that killer pass, that final ball.
He never had it today. Yeah,
he didn't have it today.
Yeah, I don't know what to like put it on because I feel like our whole midfield, to be honest, was mediocre today. Although the passing and everything was good, but in the final third, we never really had that final pass, final finish. It was never there. So I think that really summed up our day, and that was the reason why we never got any goals.
Would you put that down to the fact that we defended well?
Yeah, I think the pressing, especially in the final third, you guys were really organized because you basically had two banks of four, and the pressing was really good once we got into the final third, and you didn't really allow us to play those intricate passes, those 1-2s, and what City usually do to get through teams. It wasn't possible today.
I think the game plan today was to keep you down the wings as much as possible because we have Wan-Bissaka, I think the best defensive right back or one of the best in Europe, and we have Luke Shaw, who's apart from Fernandes being our player of the season in my eyes. We got two defensively sound fullbacks. Keeping Manchester City down the wing, I think, was the best option. You cannot give Manchester City space in and around the centre of the pitch or outside the area because, obviously, as you know, as a City fan, you're going to kill teams. That's what you do.
I feel like, obviously, we all knew that Sterling wasn't going to have much luck on his wing, but even Mahrez, obviously, other than that one time he sat him down, but he didn't have many opportunities going forward. Like, I didn't really see Mahrez stand out as well. So I think the fullbacks were key to United's win today.
The thing is, I'll say, like, this is the best time to be a City fan. Right now, I'd want to be a City fan right now. I wouldn't even mind losing. No, I'm saying I wouldn't even mind losing. Like, I can see Vim. He doesn't even look that sad because he knows he's won the league. You know you've won the league.
Feel like,
I know
long term,
you might feel like a bit sad.
Goal is still in reach, and I feel like there's no one that's gonna stop City on our way to this. It's really just a matter of how much time it takes for us to bounce back. But obviously, you don't want to break a streak like the one we had going on against your rivals. So that's the only thing that really hurts. But other than that, I feel like going forward, City really have nothing to worry about.
Are you sure?
In terms of the title, yes, because I don't see anyone catching us, and us having a bad run of games.
Manchester is red. It is and always will be red. I mean, I'll say about your 21 game win streak and the thing about streaks and momentum in football. Liverpool hadn't lost a home game for how many years? I think something like 2 years. I'm probably wrong.
2 years and a bit.
But now they've lost 6 in a row at home. Manchester City just won 21 games in a row. Your momentum is finished because you just lost. Do you not think that you might slip up a little bit? Is your mentality good enough?
I think that I feel like Pep really, he won't allow the players to drop off. And after a performance like that, City usually do bounce back. So hopefully in the next game we'll see. And we have all our players fit, there are no injuries. So for a team as good as ours having no injuries, there just has to be a good bounce back after that.
I was hoping you said something different there, but
City is they
I
can't
have
even
confidence
complain.
in our team.
And it's
Because
fair.
we're 9 points clear right now, so it was 10 games to go.
I think it's 11
That would mean
points.
us dropping. Yeah, that would mean us dropping 3 games. And okay, even if that does happen, that means you guys have to win all your games. So
don't put that past them. The thing is, it's something we can do because we have been on a run like that very recently. So that's why I'm staying positive in it. I'm not. To be fair, I'm not usually a positive person. I'm very pessimistic. But when it comes to Manchester United, we could lose 9-0 and I still think we're going to win the next game 5-0. I try to be as positive as possible, but But I have a question for you, Ibs.
Mm-hmm.
Martial's been on fraud watch. Is he still on fraud watch or are you taking him off?
No, Martial was my man of the match today. He's come off fraud watch. He's my man of the match. Yeah, it was weird how he was so good today. I think he always turns up in derby games. And yeah, he was better than the centre backs for City. The centre backs couldn't get too close to him. When he got the ball, he'd turn. When you get the ball, he'd hold it up. And he just did what a centre forward is meant to do. He was dropping into CM to centre mid because Fred's touch wasn't good enough. He had to drop into centre mid to collect the ball and spray out wide because Fred was not capable of doing it. He was playing 2 positions in one game.
But I think Fred gets too much slander, man. Like, Fred is a decent player. I don't know why United fans have an agenda against him because it's too much, man.
I can tell you exactly why I don't have an agenda against Fred. I'm just very disappointed by his lack of quality on the ball. One, he's Brazilian, and I know being from a certain country,
what's that supposed to mean?
When you're Brazilian, you grow up, you play football on the beach. Brazilians usually are known for their good touch, their ability on the ball. Fred just doesn't have it. I grew up watching Paul Scholes, Michael Carrick, especially those two in the center of the park. They get the ball, one touch, and they already know what they're going to do with it, and they do it. Now I'm watching Fred and McTominay. The drop off there is crazy, ridiculous, and we have players in our squad that can do the job, but they don't get picked. Van de Beek.
I think the one issue about that is defensive covering, because Van de Beek at Ajax was mainly an attacking player. I think he played in attacking midfield. So I think Solskjaer's worry is he going to cover the back four? Is he going to protect the way Fred and McTominay protect? Does he have that work rate?
That's down solely to Solskjaer then. Because when have we ever really played with 2 pivots? Apart from, I think Mourinho might have been the first really to implement 2 pivots. We're not a side that does that. We would always play the 4-3-3 with 1 pivot and 2.
What would you say? Would you say your defense is strong enough for you to play one pivot?
I believe we're seeing different tactics, as in a higher line. I believe eventually, yes, if we sign a good enough centre back in the summer, and maybe
that's a big if, though.
It is a big if, but we have priority positions, and centre back is one of them, and we're linked. I have to be careful what I say. To Varane, so it's not really. He's not really.
We'll see. Come summer, we'll see.
But yeah, tactics are advancing, and we are getting linked or rumored to be monitoring very decent players. So I think eventually, we will go to one pivot. I think, or I'll say differently. I think we should go to one pivot when we get the better players in, because then we won't be relying on, I'd say, our attacking players to just bail us out all the time.
Yeah,
we'll actually be able to control our own play.
What would you guys say about Pogba? I know. I think he's injured or something. That's why he didn't play today. But
he's very
in
close.
terms of his time at United,
no, his time obviously we didn't build the team around him, and that's why he suffered all these years. Finally, this season, obviously we brought in Bruno last year. Pogba came in at the end of last year, was doing well, and obviously this season was doing well. And that's what we needed. We needed to bring in players around him that can play at his level, give him the freedom to do what he does. And it's unfortunate that he became injured, but it doesn't look like he will stay this season. I think he might leave at the end of the year.
Sad though.
I think
quality player.
I want him to stay. You think he might leave? I can't see who buys him.
Well, we're not going to win the league. If we won the league, he would stay. That's what I said in a few episodes ago.
FA Cup and Europa League, he says.
But why would he? It's not okay. FA Cup. Okay, if we win FA Cup at least.
Although we're not at the top, we're not dominating Europe and we're not dominating England. Winning trophies, winning the Europa League, the elite European competition, and winning the FA Cup, it shows progress. And I think that's what Pogba would be looking for, because there was no progress before. It was Bruno. It is Bruno. There was no progress before Bruno came in. Whatever he's done in that dressing room, whatever he's doing outside of the football pitch, I'm talking about Bruno Fernandes, it's working. We're seeing progress. League position, we're more confident. Fans are more confident. Although we just had a recent dip of form, overall, I'm way happier watching Manchester United now. I'm excited to watch Manchester United games because I think we're going to win every game. As I said 5 minutes ago, we could get battered. We could have been battered today, in all honesty. And even in the next game, I would still think we're going to win. Under Mourinho, we could win 1-0, and I think we're going to lose the next game. There's a massive difference in the mentality from 2 years ago than there is now. Well, for me, at least. And I think that's down to the players and it's down to the manager, down to the backroom staff. And I think I'm going to look at it from Pogba's point of view. I'd be happy to stay because there is evidence of progress and we're going in the right direction.
That is true. We are technically the second best team in England, and that could be at the end of the season we could still be second best, and then just one more push to challenge City. But with City, let's talk about Messi, because do you think that's going to happen?
I don't want to think about it.
No, there's no way Messi's going to leave Barca, especially now towards the end of his career.
I mean,
because I feel like
his contract's
if
over.
he comes here, I know, but like I feel like if he comes here, he'd have a lot to prove, and people would want to see quite a lot from him. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to deliver that.
Just slot straight into your team. There's nothing to prove. He just get the ball, De Bruyne, Messi, goal.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be exciting to see Pep and Messi again together, and especially with players like De Bruyne around him, the midfield backing him. Because he doesn't have that at Barca anymore. Obviously, he had players like Iniesta and Xavi, but Barca is long past that time. So I think it'd fit in. It would be nice to see, but I'm not expecting anything.
I mean, the only reason he wasn't able to leave Barcelona when he wanted to was because of Bartomeu, and obviously he's chilling with Ronaldinho in prison. So it gives him not a free pass, but
the best opportunity.
Yeah, the best opportunity for him to leave is in the next window. I'm not sure what Manchester City, what kind of a place they're in with FFP, but I do know that you scraped to manage.
Yeah, exactly. We just managed to get out of that last season, so
I don't think you'd be able to afford him. And you're linked to Haaland as well. Can't see how.
I feel like it's too soon. This is only March. And we're talking about summer transfers, which
these transfers get spoken about for months.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to tell the difference between speculation and things that are actually going to happen, because clubs tend to actually keep the real transfers under wraps until it's time to reveal.
I think with German clubs especially, I think you can tell, because I know with Dortmund and Bayern Munich, because they are the two biggest clubs, their owners or their board members talk directly to the press or media outlets about transfer situations. In England, we don't. Well, I know at Manchester United, we don't. Mina Raiola does, and he represents Paul Pogba, so in a way we do. But I think in the next 18 months, players like Haaland, Mbappe, the next generation of players that are going to be at the top level, challenger for Ballon d'Ors, Champions League, World Cup, they're going to be on the move. And Manchester City, because of the FFP, I can't see you signing any of those players because you're not bringing in enough money, especially with the pandemic. You're not bringing in enough money to sign someone and be safe.
Yeah.
So it's down to us because we're heavily.
I mean, we'll see how it goes because I don't think City has a lot of recruiting to do. United probably has much more recruiting to do than we do. I think City's main worry right now is a striker because obviously now I think we're seeing the end of Aguero's time. In my opinion, I don't think Jesus is the perfect replacement for him. So obviously that's someone we would have to look for. Maybe Haaland, maybe someone else. I don't know. But other than that, our midfield probably has a few years in them. Defense is very young. Diaz, Stones, Laporte. So I think City they don't have that much to worry about. I think we should just focus on our European football and improving in that aspect.
Is the quadruple a thought?
Always. That's always been the aim. I think we tried it last season, but obviously it didn't work out. But we've seen that City have the depth, they have the quality, and especially this year with teams like Barca and Madrid not looking as strong. Bayern is probably the biggest worry that we have. And we have a good draw for this round of 16, so I see us qualifying. And I think we could go all the way this year, to be honest.
In the Champions League, what do you think is different from last year? Because no one would have foreseen Lyon knocking you out. What's stopping a team like that from doing the same this year?
I think the form that we have this year, because obviously last year City in the league weren't doing as well as we are this year, and I think that momentum, that form that we had, I think and also injuries as well. At that time, I think we had Aguero out, we had De Bruyne out, so I think now that everyone is back and everyone's fit and everyone's healthy, we stand a good chance.
That's fair enough. I can't argue with that.
Yeah. If it happens, then I don't know if you'll see me running this topic again. That is embarrassing.
You guys will never hear the end of it, let me tell you that.
But you know what? I'm not trying to be funny, no banter. I don't think people would care. Because
about City winning Champions League?
Yeah, I don't think people would care.
4. Yeah,
I don't think City winning 4 would be as big as us winning the treble. Because you did 100 points winning the league and then defended it with 98 points.
Yeah. The
highest points in the Premier League and the best Premier League defense. I've never heard anyone speak about it. I don't think people realize. Because it's Man City. Manchester City are one of the best teams in Premier League history. You've had
I think teams. People underrate City's success because of all the financial backing that we've got.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
whenever
right.
they see City overachieve, they always put it down to they have money. But a team like United, they have just as much as money as us. I feel like the only difference that comes in is recruiting.
There's a difference in the way,
because remember City's breaking transfer deal was 63 million for Rodri. We haven't got anything higher than that.
The things I know that Manchester City get criticized for is you spend a lot of money, but your squad depth, not through the academy or not through buying players for 5 or 10 million. You spend hundreds of millions on just fullbacks. You've got almost 3 players in every position that you've imported for a lot of money. Your rise to winning the Premier League, I think you got bought in 2008, start of 2008-09 season. Yeah. And then within 4 years, you'd won the league because you'd invested so much. Your rise to the top wasn't organic like Manchester United or Liverpool. Manchester United and Liverpool, the 2 biggest teams in England, built their success over decades. They have a history. Manchester City obviously have a history because they're an old club, but not a successful history. And I don't think people like it. It's the same way Leipzig aren't liked in Germany because of the way German clubs are owned 50% or 51% by the fans. Leipzig don't have that, and I think it's Red Bull, the actual company, own a few clubs around the world. They were able to get to the top in a couple of years through financial backing. It's like buying a financial takeover in Korea.
But you know what? I feel like that shouldn't even matter at all. Like, football is a business now, and people need to realize that, because there's so much money involved in the game when you consider things like advertising, t-shirt sales, all of this, TV rights, all of that. There's so much money in the game. So it's really up to you to make that count.
I mean, me personally, I don't like City. I don't really care about them because growing up, I'm thinking about, we just can't let Arsenal win it this year. We can't let Liverpool do this and that. Manchester City only really came into my mind
2012.
when you beat us. I think, that was it. That was the first time I probably even heard of you in the most respectful way. You weren't a threat to us. And because I grew up on so much other stuff, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal especially, I'm barely just getting into I still don't see you as a threat because it's not ingrained into me yet. Give it 5 years, I'm thinking, I will start caring more about your team. But I have my opinion, and I know that other Manchester United fans and fans of other clubs share that opinion. That's why I said before the stream started, that fake rivalry that you had with Liverpool, what's that? It's never a rivalry. It wasn't a rivalry. And I think that's why a lot of people just don't really care.
I think for City, they just need more youth players. Obviously, Phil Foden, but the more youth players they bring up through their system, I think the more recognition or more people actually care about City. But when they're buying all these foreign players and just putting them in a team and they perform, people don't really care because there's no real, like, from a ground up, there's not really much they've done.
Yeah. Just look at the success Liverpool had when they brought in Klopp. Robertson for less than 5 million or something like that. Yeah, they spent 75 million on Van Dijk, but he was the final piece of the puzzle. They stuck with Robertson. He didn't have the best start, but they worked him into being the best left back in the world. Trent through the academy, best right back in the world. Salah cheap, Mane cheap, Firmino cheap, Wijnaldum cheap, everyone cheap, and they grew into the team. They grew into their roles to make them the best team in the world. Manchester City. 50 million on Sterling, he's one of the best players in the world. I think 200 million on your fullbacks. I remember when you bought Nolito for, I want to say 27 million.
Yeah,
he had a bad few games. He got shipped out. They just bought someone else. That's the difference between that's the difference between Pep Guardiola at Manchester City and Klopp at Liverpool, or Pochettino or Brendan Rodgers. And I just don't think people think Manchester City is an ethical team. I just don't. That's why I think
listen, whether you guys think we're an ethical team or not, whether you guys think that our team is fake or whatever, we're still winning and we're still here to stay. So I don't really get fazed by that, but it's your opinion. So I understand it.
But I don't expect City fans to be crying over it. I expect you to just be like, cool, we're first.
Yeah.
That's the mentality every football fan should have.
I think the main thing to take away from this, though, is that the fact that we've added to the competition, and now, City in the near future will be now like an ingrained name in English football, and maybe people will take them more serious. But
I think City obviously you'll be like a name in English football, but you won't be like a supported team. You'll be a team for the neutrals. No one really will support City. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I get that.
I have a question for you, though. Do you think City are even in the top 10 biggest sides in England? Not just the Premier League, but just in England.
When people bring up this topic, I know what they base it on, and I know why they're asking me, because they're talking about history. That's really what it all comes down to. And obviously, I can't argue. But if we're talking realistically, biggest clubs today, yes, City is there.
Okay.
If we look at titles, because if you are going to count titles, we definitely are in the top 10.
It's fair.
Yeah.
City are the dominant team in England for the past decade, and we can't
Exactly.
complain. If only that was my team, but we'll
I
be
would
back.
not
We'll be back soon. But yeah, I think we should move on to Liverpool, City's rivals,
Oh, yes.
Rivals, yeah, rivals.
and I don't know what's going on with Liverpool. 1-0 home to Fulham.
Shocked but not surprised. If I was to put it simply, Fulham played them off the park. Fulham looked like Manchester City at times. Harrison Reed in the midfield, by the way, is amazing. I can see him getting bought by a team like Everton or a team just outside the top four. He's not old, he's not young, but he plays like he's maybe going to outgrow Fulham. He didn't let the Liverpool midfielders have a second on the ball, and he was, along with Lamina, the main reason why I think Fulham won the game.
Liverpool. The thing is, I say it every episode, their team isn't bad. Their team actually isn't bad. They have no complaints about their squad. But yeah, they're not performing. And just losing games. 6 games, that's 6 home wins. Home losses, I mean. Home losses in a row.
You know what? Something that was interesting to see was that Mane and Firmino, I think, was it Firmino or Salah, both didn't start.
Yeah, it's because in recent weeks, well, I will say in recent weeks, but the whole season they just haven't been up to it. And I think Klopp is finally dropping the big names that haven't been playing well. Trent didn't start either. So the big three that missed out were Trent, Mane, and Firmino. They just, because they haven't been performing, he's putting players in that are playing better at the moment and they're putting more effort in. Because quality is important in football, but if you don't have the work ethic, it's all for nothing. You have to be able to sprint 50 yards back to help your team defend. And I just don't think they have looked up to it this season. They didn't look up to it today. I live next to Anfield. I live in Liverpool, actually. And when that plane came over, I heard it, but I didn't realize until I saw it on the TV that it was... What was it?
What are
they doing? It was a plane... I need to find what it said. It was something about the mentality or...
was it Liverpool fans?
Yeah, it was Liverpool fans must have set up like a GoFundMe or something to fly a plane with a banner over Anfield today. And I think Gary Neville even tweeted it. But it's terrible from them. Their fan base is becoming a bit of a meme because of the way they've acted. It said unity is strength. Let's go Reds. Like YNWA for you'll never walk alone. This is when they're losing 1-0 to Fulham, by the way. This isn't a 0-0. It's just they're not. I've said it a few times before. Their success got to their head. They started to believe their own hype, and I think Trent is a good example of that. And obviously, Klopp's had his personal problems this year. You know, you can't avoid that. And you can tell by his body language, his demeanor, his reaction. When he goes behind, he smiles. Because I think he's not given up, but I think he knows that they're not the best anymore.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that's only natural, though, because Liverpool, let's not forget, Liverpool have been playing at the top level for, I think, 3 seasons on the bounce. So, you know, Champions League finals, Champions League, winning the Champions League, you know, going all the way, it takes a toll because you're playing like 50, 60 games a season. And obviously, after a while, it's going to take a toll. Even if the players are young, that type of stress, it hits the players.
I mean, you are spot on.
Yeah.
Their centre-back partnership today was Phillips and Williams. I don't know how many times they've played together, but you could probably count
Was that
it
the youth team players?
Phillips,
Exactly.
I want to say he's like 24. He's not young. He just obviously never got into the team because of Van Dijk and his partner. But Reece Williams, yes, he's a youth player coming into the team this season. They weren't good. The right back Nico Williams and Reece, the two Williams, they were on the right hand side of the defense. Lookman looked like a young Ronaldo at times because the amount of space that he had because of how far up Williams was, because he was doing two people's jobs. Salah didn't have a good game. They were just getting caught out. They played a high line and stuck with it. We played a high line today, realised we can't play this high line the whole match and drop back. Liverpool thought, we're Liverpool. They're Fulham. We can play the high line. Doesn't matter what they can do. We're going to score.
Yeah.
Fulham scored and they kept the high line and they just kept on getting just over the top. And you can't blame Liverpool. You can't have any sympathy for them.
Well, as I said a few last episodes, it's relegation battles, relegation form at the moment for Liverpool.
Do you know they are closer to the relegation zone than they are to Manchester City? So, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean,
let's just skip Liverpool because I've had enough of talking about Liverpool and trying to feel sympathetic for them. But Tottenham,
no sympathy at all. Tottenham
pushing for top 4, 4-1 at home. Crystal Palace, Bale 2, Kane 2.
It's Harry Kane FC this season. So that's all I'll say. The things I do to have Harry Kane at Manchester United. That guy is behind Lewandowski. I'd put him ahead of Haaland. I won't lie. I'm going to get called dumb or you don't know anything about.
No, he is. He is the second best striker in Europe.
Yeah. Why do people say Europe but it's not the world? There's not going to be Lewandowski.
I mean, the world is basically Europe is the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Top,
I just think the world sounds better. Harry Kane is the second best striker in the world, and Gareth Bale is smiling on the football pitch, not for 10 seconds but for 25 minutes. He's looking like he's rediscovering his best form, and it's nice to see because Tottenham aren't a threat. Don't care about them the same way I don't care about City, but I like to see good players playing good football. And I mean, Crystal Palace had a decent game, but Spurs were just too good for them today.
Yeah, I mean, with Bale performing, I mean, it just means the likelihood of him signing for United next season is increasing each game by game.
He's trying it for us. Deadline day when we don't get Sancho or
well, you know,
Rafinha.
it's funny. I don't get how Bale has been here the whole season, but we're only really seeing him in this second half of the season. Like first half of the season, I never saw him play.
He had a couple of injuries in the first half of the season. Not like major injuries, but injuries that would have set him back a week or two, and then he couldn't get his match fitness back into the team. Tottenham were obviously struggling.
Yeah, definitely struggling.
And I don't think Mourinho was his biggest fan. There was a video that got released. It's not like a private video or anything, it's like training ground fracas or whatever. Mourinho said something like, if you don't put in the work, you can just go sit on the bench in Madrid or something like that. So there was obviously some sort of Mourinho-style tension. But Gareth Bale obviously has realised I need to put in the work and I need to make sure I get selected and start each game. So I'm going to have to put in 10 times more effort. I'm going to have to put away those chances that I'm missing in the games. Because he was there or thereabouts. He just wasn't finding the back of the net. But now he is. And people were comparing Bale over the past week or so to the Bale that Tottenham sold to Real Madrid. And comparisons are there.
Well, yeah, I think that should round up this episode. Actually, to finish off, I asked Vim some quick fire questions about the Premier League in general.
Manchester City formed. Sorry, I had to get it.
What did you say?
Manchester City formed.
This guy will not let me just allow me.
They were formed 2011. But yeah, first question is top 3 players in the league so far this season.
Top 3 players. It's only right that I say a City player, but yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna expect this, but I'm gonna say Cancelo. That's one. Who can I put in second?
Don't kill me, you're killing me.
No,
but yeah, anyone watching at home, also post in the comments what you guys think as well.
As much as I hate to say it, I'd say Luke Shaw as well. Yeah, and He's had a good season. Who else can I say? Third. I actually don't know. I don't know who I could put that third place, but yeah, those are the two that come to mind.
Well, Anton, why are your hands on your head?
I don't know how Bruno Fernandes hasn't been said. He's been.
No, you know what? Bruno, he gets the numbers, but like there's some days like today where you will not see him on the pitch. It's almost like he's invisible. Him and De Bruyne, they had the same day today.
But look at the numbers. You can't just say, some
I
games he
know,
won't do this,
but like his
the numbers
will
speak
come
for
in 5
themselves.
minutes of the game.
So he has to be mentioned. You have to mention him in the top three.
I'm not gonna.
You have to.
I'll say this.
I'm not jumping on that bandwagon.
It's not a band. It's not bandwagon anymore. This isn't aimed at you. This is aimed at anybody who watches this and anybody who has a sort of agenda or discredits Bruno's involvement. Bruno is the top goal contributor this season, I think, with 26 in 28. 26 goal contributions in 28. That doesn't happen by accident. You have to be there. You have to. I know we scored a few penalties. Obviously, they count. We win penalties, so he scores them. You have to be in the right positions. You have to play those passes. They have to. No one for us, apart from Pogba, got even close to his stats since I'd say Rooney.
No one has.
Maybe Van Persie. But, I mean, Bruno Fernandes isn't a fluke player. He's an elite level player. Don't kill me, Stuart.
Okay, but you asked me for my opinion. Yeah, you asked me for my opinion, so I'm giving you my opinion.
Yeah. I think I don't know personally. I know a lot of football fans because of the course I do at uni, because of the people I associate myself with. Everyone has their team. Everyone has their very strong opinions. I don't know anyone that doesn't support Manchester United that actually rates Bruno Fernandes. And I can only put that down to jealousy. I'm not saying you're jealous, but Bruno Fernandes.
No, he's a good player. Like, those numbers are crazy. They are crazy. When I look at them and I try to compare them to like anyone, there was this one day where I was like, you know, Gundogan and Bruno are like the same. There's no difference. I checked and he's got like double of both of goals and assists. And I was like, yeah, this guy's clear.
Yeah,
I think rival fans, they don't want to put him in the category because, I think it's jealousy. They want this because they don't want someone like De Bruyne to be below someone
exactly.
Bruno. So that's why they'll never say Bruno, even though Bruno is performing.
Yeah, now that you put it into perspective, I'll give you guys Bruno. It's fine. That's what you want to hear.
I mean, it is the truth, and I know you think that, but obviously you don't want to say it.
Yeah,
but I just have strong opinions. I do agree with Luke Shaw though. Luke Shaw and Cancelo, I agree. Because I think Luke Shaw's been the best left back in the league this season, and I know people won't agree because it's Luke Shaw. He's the chubby fat kid who broke his leg and doesn't have any confidence, but he has been the best left back in the league and one of the best in Europe this season. And it's a fact. All he does is create chances, and he's an astute defender as well. You can't argue.
Yeah, the last question I'll ask is, who's winning FA Cup? We already know Premier League is City. Who's winning FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Champions League, and Europa League?
Europa League. I'll start with the European competition. Europa League, I'd say. I'm not going to say United because I don't feel like in the long run you guys are going to make it. And Ole is not built for that type of pressure. But Europa League, I'd say a Spanish team. I don't see any English teams going all the way in Europa.
I think we knocked out
I'm not sure. Who got knocked out?
Real Sociedad is I think they're the best Spanish.
There's teams like AC Milan are still in.
I think the only team that can win it is Milan, but obviously they have to knock us out. If Milan knock us out, they win it. If we go through, I think we win.
Like we've basically got the final.
Yeah,
our next
we've
game
got the toughest team. We've got the toughest team that we could have got.
Yeah,
but Champions League.
Okay. Yeah, Champions League. I'm putting it down to either Bayern or or City. I'm going Bayern
Yeah,
City,
that's fair.
one of the two.
That's fair.
FA, Carabao, you can't really say who's gonna win those competitions because it's a knockout competition. You know, someone can have an off day and that's it, they're out. But I'm thinking, yeah, this year's gonna be a big team because even like the underdogs, they don't look like Leicester, all of the guys, they don't look like they're gonna go all the way because of the form that they've been having. So I'll go Arsenal with FA because Arsenal always find a way with
Yeah,
FA.
just gotta get his guy off. Smoking. You be smoking.
But yeah, City for Carabao, and then yeah, that should be everything.
There's
Yeah,
good
obviously
answers.
City.
Those are good
Yeah,
answers.
City, Carabao. Yeah, that's fair. You're playing Spurs in the final,
Hmm.
and Man U for the league. And yeah, I think that's been a good episode. Thank you guys for watching.
Let's
Please
end
like,
this.
subscribe, share, and comment. Let us know what you think to these questions as well. Yeah, this midweek is European games, Champions League, Europa League. So we'll see you on. Yeah, we'll see you midweek. Arsenal for Europe, and you have to overcome Olympiacos, who knocked you out last season. So I don't think that's gonna happen, Darren. But yeah, thank you, Vim, for coming on. City fan, the only City fan I know. They're rare to find. So if you guys wanted to know what a City fan looks like, I mean,
all right, bro.
Here's one. Here's one. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.